What is up, YouTube? It has been an amazing week last week because it was Catriona Gray's first media week and she did some amazing interviews that I definitely want to be reacting to this week. But today, we are going to watch and react to Catriona Gray's best... We are going to be reacting to Kat's best interview so far, which is the Bottomline interview with Tito Boy Abunda, just right before the Miss Universe pageant. I'm Marc, and this is the life of Marc. Alright guys, well first of all, my 3 videos a week has not been happening here in 2019. I actually ended up traveling to Paris at the beginning of the year for my birthday. I turned 34 years old, so I ended up treating myself for a trip to Paris. I did some vlogging there as well, so stay tuned for that vlog. I couldn't really release any videos when I was in Paris because of the jet lag that I've had. It was terrible, I am telling you. And then I had more jet lag coming home from New York. But enough about me. Today, I am very excited because a lot of people have requested that I react to Catriona Gray's interview at Bottomline with Tito Boy Abunda. And I gotta say, I wish I saw this interview before the Miss Universe pageant because it was amazing. So let's go ahead and start this thing. I have many thoughts because it was such an amazing interview and I wanted to kind of share with you some thoughts, and I learned a lot from Tito Boy for sure. So Tito Boy, thank you for teaching me a lot about public speaking skills. I'm still working on that, and I'm actually, hoping that this YouTube vlogging is gonna help me. So let's start. Let's go.
The last interview that Pia did before she joined Universe in 2015 was a Bottomline. Here in the studio.
Oh. I gotta watch that.
We don't usually use the studio. It's a different studio that we use. So the Universe may just be telling us something.
Yes.
The Universe may just be telling us something. Nicole, let's go to your question.
How would you show a cynic how beautiful the world is?
Well, I think how we perceive our outer world is how we perceive our inner world. When you can see it from a lens of gratitude, or you are able to pinpoint small beauties in everyday life, or small acts of humanity, or something that makes you smile, you really have to make an effort to see it. And so I would tell that cynic, look around you. Is there something that's distorting your view of the world? And if there is, remove it and try and see the beauty in the world, because it is a beautiful world.
Let's pause. I love this answer because I think for me, we have to, yes, we have to be critical of the world around us, but we also have to, to look for hope. And it's hard to find hope when, when we look at the world very negatively. And I think, hope is really critical when it comes to, to getting us out of situations, to getting us, to imagining something better. And, I thought she had an amazing answer. By the way, these questions are very, very hard. And I'm sure, like if you're asked these questions right on the spot, it would take you quite a while to think about these answers. But I'm very glad. Kat's definitely very prepared, right before the Miss Universe pageant.
I just came from Tondo today, so I'm like feeling that question.
Oh, she just came back.
Yeah, but I would have gone there. Hindi naman ako Miss Universe. But I would have gone there. I went to Tondo and I saw so much beauty. Right. And a cynic is someone who doubts everything, including beauty.
Yeah.
I would have probably gone there, meaning I would have said I just came from a place where you wouldn't expect to see beauty, and I saw children. I actually read that story. I saw children, and they were just so beautiful. I'd share that story with a cynic.
Yeah, that's very...
The other way that I would handle that question would be, excuse me, can you just look at me and stare at me? And then you say, and I thank you.
I love Tito Boy. I think he's such a great, public speaker, and it's great to see him kind of, to teach and mentor, people and teach them kind of some of the trades and skills that he's learned over the decades of his, of his being a pundit, of his being a public speaker. That's such a great, this reminds us of what Catriona actually said during the Miss Universe pageant, and she focused a lot in that final question about seeing beauty, right, within the through the eyes of the children that she had worked with in Tondo, which is like a slum in Manila. She's been working there for about 3 years. So we're seeing kind of that journey, Catriona's journey, when it comes to her training that she had brought to Miss Universe. And it's actually really great to see this, right after Miss Universe. So you kind of see her, her steps, right, toward, winning that crown.
Mic drop.
I'd like to go to Christian. Go ahead, Christian.
I'm a secondary
Who's
public
this
teacher
cutie?
in Pampanga.
Galing.
Yes, po. And this is my question. If given the chance, you'll be a teacher for a day, what subject would you like to teach?
And why?
And
I
why,
like
of
this
course?
guy.
I like this question
Yeah.
because I work a lot with kids. It would actually be life skills in that, especially if they're young, just how to interact with each other. Like simple things in how to share or how to deal when something's taken away from them. Or, if there is a dispute over something, how to reason out that children can understand. Because I think a lot of the times in our education system, basic life skills aren't taught.
Yeah, that's
They're not put in place. So we grow into adults trying to figure out the world that we come into, and we have to make mistakes, and we have to kind of learn through people telling us, hey, we shouldn't approach it in this way, or there's a problem here, this is not how you handle it. So I think you need to start young. If you make it as simple as you can for children, then they'll grow into very reasonable and equal
I like that answer.
adults.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But the way to do it, this is partly coaching for Kat, because I am
That's why I
one
need my
of her
notebook.
teachers. Life coaching
I need my notebook
falls
too.
under
That
what?
falls under education.
M-
Education sa pagpapakatao, that's ESP in high school.
There are other schools na ibang tawag noon.
Values education.
Values education. You can say values education
Or education
and
sa pagpapakatao.
proceed with what you said.
Yes.
Because that becomes the subject.
Yeah.
We're ready. Okay? Ako ang kinakabahan. This is not just for Kat. This is for you who get into beauty contests. All right? Let's go to you.
Hi, Kat.
Hi.
So I just wonder, what's the biggest advice that you didn't take, and why?
I'm a very stubborn person, and I'm also a visionary. And the thing is, when I get a vision for something, whether it's a creative pursuit or like an evening gown peg, I'm really stubborn with my vision. And I've had so many people come to me and be like, hey, I can see you in something else, or, that's not really fitted for you. You should try something else. But I have to try it first. I have to try my vision first. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'd rather stay true to my vision and then explore others and learn that way than never listening to what I want.
I love this answer because it was really authentic actually how she conveyed that, and we knew that she was going through that already as a candidate for Miss Universe, right? I mean, she had a very specific vision for what she wanted to do as a Miss Universe candidate, and she carried that forward, and it was just it came out very authentically. It wasn't a forced answer at all.
Wonderful. But you could have been more straightforward. Somebody wanted me to wear a gown. I didn't take it. Diba? It's more powerful, and then you can go into. Usually I have a vision of the things I like. Usually I have a vision of the things I like. Some people want me to put my hair this way, and I just remember that somebody wanted me to wear a gown, and I didn't. That was the last time I didn't take an advice. It's that powerful.
And
Okay?
it's easier to digest when you give the first.
Yes. That first line is very strong. The last time I had a conversation with Pia, a couple of days ago, what she didn't forget was when I said, Pia, pag nininervyos ka na in front of the world and competing against over 80 women, some of the most beautiful women, whatever you say, end strong
Yeah.
and sound right.
I gotta say, I'm learning a lot from Tito Boy already when it comes to public skills for sure. And strong, sound right. Be confident with your
say mo, ano
answer,
masasabi mo sa
right?
pagtanggal ng Filipino language at panitikan
sa college curriculum?
I think it would be really sad if we were to reach that point. One, because I feel like when you reach a certain age, you will have an appreciation for what Tagalog is, the poetry of it, the history of it, how it's represented in our culture. Whereas if you were to take that out, who else will pioneer our language for the next generation?
Cut.
Very important answer. I think, in the Philippines, if they're trying to take the, Tagalog language away from college, I mean, that's a huge problem, right? I mean, kahit ako, nandito ako sa New York ngayon, marunong pa rin ako mag-Tagalog dahil ang mga pamilya ko nagtatagalog kami pag nagsasama-sama kami. So, even for me, I still continue to speak in Tagalog, here in New York because it's very important, right? To, I mean, I moved here when I was 11 years old. I was very young, but still, I still have a great grasp of Tagalog, thankfully. And, thankfully in part to, my parents and my family who speaks Tagalog fluently, and we continue to do that here. And I'm very proud to speak another language. A lot of Americans, sadly don't speak other languages. And I speak three. I speak French, I speak Tagalog, I speak English. And it's really, and I carry those languages very proudly. And in the Philippines, I think it's really important for us to keep that language in all levels of education, because that's really language is what defines, any type of culture. And if we just, it's okay to have a second official language like English, but I think it's important for us to keep that national identity through the Tagalog language, that we speak all over the Philippines.
So, Kat, alam natin nag-compete ka before for Miss World.
Yes.
So nakikita ko ngayon, 100% ready ka na to win the crown.
Thank you.
So, are you ready not to win the crown?
Never
She
consider
was.
failure. Why? Because I feel that if you have that in your vision, it'll distract you. It'll withdraw your energy from you. And I need 100%, 120% of my energy to go towards winning.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's right.
Another way to handle that is when you are surprised by a question, phrase it again. I mean, ask me the question again.
Are you ready not to win the crown?
It's a distracting question because the way you made latag is you won, I saw you win and you're ready for the crown, etc. And then bigla ang tanong mo is negative. Go to the phrasing. No, I am never ready not to get the crown. It's that strong. Go to the line. Go to the line. Because it's a distracting question. Nobody ever prepares for failure. And certainly I am not.
Yes.
It's a distracting question because it's a double negative. And Tito Boy is right. Like, it's interesting how he said it, right? Like, if it's a double negative, then answer it in a double negative just to kind of distract the other person too. But then he switched a little bit. He said, be a little bit more straight with this, this last line that he just said.
Hello, Kat. Good evening.
Hi, John.
So, what kind of validation do you get, if any, from a strong social media following?
It really would depend on the following. And my following, I can see, are a bunch of very supportive people who really interact with what I put out there. That's really important to me, interaction, because it's a two-way conversation. I'd rather have people that participate in what I'm saying rather than people who just follow and then don't attribute anything to what I'm doing.
That's very good. You know why? It didn't answer the question, but she sounded beautifully right. Totoo yan. But what John...
Honestly, Catriona grew her following from 600,000 right before the pageant on Instagram, for example, to over 4.5 million people, and growing very quickly right now. She does more, media tours. I mean, this is such a huge responsibility. Like, when you have that big of a platform, bigger than the Miss Universe Instagram account, for example, I mean, you have such a huge platform, and I think, she's learning, I'm sure, every day how to be a spokesperson, how to carry that responsibility and be able to influence that many people.
Hi, Kat. I'm gonna ask you a very serious question, so it goes like this. Given the current economic state of the Philippines, the inflation rate, and the current Philippine exchange rate, how would you convince the Filipino people that it is still more fun in the Philippines?
Great question.
I think we really have to learn to love local. What does that mean? That means sourcing our products and building up the livelihoods of our farmers and the people who make products in the Philippines so that we are engaging in our own economy and we're not sourcing outside all the time. In this way, you could build up the small provinces, make them more tourist attractions, get people to travel and see and love their country because there's so much to fall in love with in the Philippines. And I think we just need to reignite that love for our country and our people.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Great answer. I mean, and I relate to Catriona's answer here very well because, even for me as a Filipino who's trying to get back to my roots, right? Like, it's really important for me to travel more to the Philippines, to see Filipino products, Filipino culture represented in textile and, in things that people produce on a day-to-day basis. I'm loving, more and more, like, local products from the Philippines. And it's really important for us, Filipinos out there are, I think we need to switch of mind a little bit, right? Because we always look to brands outside the Philippines and, yes, like it carries a certain type of connotation when it comes to socioeconomic status, but it's really important for us to be proud of the products that are coming out of our country and really embrace it. And that's what Catriona, did at the Miss Universe pageant. Even every jewelry, every clothes that she wore every day not just represented the Philippines, but all of them were produced by Filipino designers. The textiles came from different parts of the Philippines, and she does it even here in New York. She's showcasing Filipino clothes on her Instagram account while here in her first few weeks in New York City, and I hope she does that throughout her reign and really carry that Filipino flag on the world stage.
We're getting there. Let's go to you, Manchit.
Hi, Miss Catriona. Hello. Actually, I really love seeing you working closely with your advocacies. And recently, I watched your IG story, and you said earlier that you came from Tondo just to meet these less privileged children. So, as an advocate of education, what can you do to address the current state of the LUMAD schools here in the Philippines?
The LUMAD schools?
Yes. Well, the LUMAD schools, these are voluntarily run schools by indigenous people. But then currently children are having a hard time. They're going through a struggle because they can't hold classes in their classrooms because of the ongoing dispute in Mindanao.
I'm going to pause and I have a few comments. Well, first of all, this is clearly becoming a very long video because I'm commenting on every single thing that's happening here, but I feel like, that's what happens, right? When we do these things. First of all, I think I noticed this with Filipinos and in general, right? They mispronounce advocacy. They say advocacy. It's really weird, especially as an American, knowing like American English, right? We say advocacy and not advocacy. So I don't know where exactly that's coming from, but let's pronounce it the right way, I guess. Or is that the British version? Let me know in the comment section where advocacy is coming from, because when I pronounce it, it's typically advocacy. But what a great question, because this is, I work with indigenous peoples, all over the world in Latin America and Southeast Asia quite a bit. And, I learning from them, I know for sure that, when it comes to transference of culture and not traditional knowledge, right, that there is a way to do it when it comes to all these informal education that they carry through. And I think, I'm learning as well, like what the LUMAD schools are in the Philippines just through these, through this interview. So thank you guys for raising indigenous people's kind of culture and voices, in this bottom line interview.
From working closely with education, it doesn't have to be in a classroom that a child can receive knowledge. It can be in a household. It could be through a book. And I think that as long as a child can access some kind of information, whether it be through a family member or a teacher that would come to a house, or even through a YouTube video, there's always some aspect where a child can learn and grow. So even though we should take steps to really resolve the disputes that are going on that are stopping them from getting a formal education, which of course is very, very important, we can still make small steps for the time being to facilitate that lack that we're experiencing right now.
Okay. Wonderful answer. But Kat, the way to handle that, because like lumad is can be something that's foreign to you.
Yeah.
You know, indigenous people. Lumad. That's a very serious cultural, traditional, political issue in the country. But the way to handle that is the context clues. Children, which is very close to you. That's why you handle it well. You know, because whether you're lumad, for as long as you're a child, you know what it is about.
Yeah.
And when you talked about access to whatever that can make their lives better, access to education, formal or informal, you make the stand. Because one of my strongest advocacies is to improve the lives of children. You have to end it well.
Yeah.
In a contest, you are sometimes asked questions very specifically, like lumads, that may not be, you know, familiar, but still it's about children. Because in a contest, you wouldn't say, you know, these are lumas who cannot go to school because they don't have classrooms. But you handle it very well because of the children. This world has to be kinder to children. This world has to be better for children. This world has to do everything for children. The power of three is very important.
Yeah.
In Q&As and even in public speaking. It's eat, pray, and love. Let's go to you, Dom.
Magpa-throwback.
What a great, advice from Tito Boy for sure. The power of three. I gotta use that in my, in my public speaking, moments. But I mean, just a quick, comment. Both informal and formal education play a very important role in a child's development, right? So we have to recognize informal education with formal education. Formal education socializes us to kind of what the mainstream culture is and mainstream kind of rules of law are, or rules in general. But informal education is also, very important. And honestly, a lot of things that I learned post-college are quite informal. It's through experience. Experiential learning is super, super important. So we can't, we can't look at both unequally. Like, we have to look at both, opportunities equally for sure, and support both formal and informal education, wherever they may be.
Ako, Tito Boy, no? Before joining Binibining Pilipinas, you're part of a camp. And maraming napuzzled when you joined Binibining Pilipinas na bigla kang naging independent. Until now, hindi pa rin namin alam, most of us, kung ano yung reason. So my question is, would you rather be the one who hides the truth or the one who tells a lie?
I would rather be the one who hides the truth because I believe no matter what, the truth will always come out. And, I always believe in staying true to myself, which is what I did in being an independent candidate. I just wanted to create my own team. I mean, and instead of having the focus on multiple girls, I got undivided focus from a team of people that I chose myself. So I was allowed to be a creative in that space and surround myself with a core team, and it's one of the best decisions I made.
It's a fantastic answer.
What an interesting question, and it gave us a lot more insight as far as how Catriona Gray really competed. And I think also why she won. She surrounded herself within a team as an independent. She created her own team who she knew and she trusted the most. And I think this is probably, she's the 4th Miss Universe from the Philippines, and and she was very strategic, right? And it was very clear how strategic she was when it comes to the competition and really representing the Philippines very, very well. She is the best candidate so far out of the 4 Miss Universes from the Philippines who have really thought about how to carry the Filipino culture and the Filipino flag as a Miss Universe candidate and now as a Miss Universe. So, this gave us a lot of insights, right? She created her own team. And and she really had a very clear vision for the type of candidate that that she wanted to be, and I think that's one of the reasons why she won. Okay guys, this is gonna be, I'm gonna split this video into 2 parts because it is getting a little bit long. So stay tuned for part 2. Yeah, comment below let me know what you think about Catriona Gray's Bottomline performance, because this, I've learned a lot, like the Lumad for example, and I'm learning a lot from Tito Boy as well, you know, as, you know, from his public speaking expertise. So stay tuned for more for sure. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Ciao guys.